Hi Scorpio, welcome to your April 2018 love reading. It's Raina here. So I'm going to be doing a spread with my Morgan Greer deck, and I'm going to also pick a Wisdom of the Oracle card by Colette Baron Reid. I'm just putting these, shuffling a couple more times, but just to have okay, and then with the Oracle card, let's see. Hopefully I can get a card that I haven't picked before. Of course not. But it's interesting because I was thinking of you. I got this for Taurus, as I recall. And I was thinking of Scorpio, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that I got that. Okay, so let me take these out of the way. So, let's look at the Heart of the Matter card. The Queen of Swords is a card that is associated with putting your emotions on the back burner and really wanting to have a sense of logic over a certain situation. Okay, so in other words, you've had to kind of how would I put it, because you're a water sign, so you lead by your emotions. But with water signs especially, if you get into a tizzy, into a frenzy with some kind of a situation in a relationship, it can make it hard to think straight, okay? And this is a card of wanting to be in control of your emotions so that you can make probably a very important decision, okay? And I'm saying that this is something that you know that you need to do. It may not be something that you have done yet, but that is kind of forefront in your mind. So that makes me think that some of you have been, well, I mean, you might have made that decision. Maybe that is kind of like part of what has happened for you recently, is that you have been having to make these difficult, take these difficult actions. As a matter of fact, speaking of which, this is what crosses you. This is the idea of Eight of Cups. Actually, you know what? The more I think of it, the more I think you haven't done it yet, because this is in the reverse position, since I'm reading this as a challenge card. And this is about somebody who is either going on a spiritual quest or leaving a situation that is no longer serving them. Because it's cups, it's a relationship that is obviously that engages the emotions, not some kind of a group activity, but something that is really close to their heart. So you're trying to marshal the forces up so that you're able to do this, but something is keeping you from leaving this situation. With Scorpio, just like Taurus, just like Leo and Aquarius, being a fixed sign, you have a tendency to kind of stay put even if you're unhappy in a situation, because the fear of the unknown or the what's another word? Not the discomfort of change is not something that you like. So you would rather stay put, and yet there's something that is probably very emotionally draining in your life right now that is making it so that you have to find the courage to do this. The root cause of this, the Tower. The Tower is the card that we all know and love, right? The card of a very, possibly unpleasant situation coming in that makes change inevitable. And it's usually shocking. It's usually something. Now, this is something that already happened. So for those of you who, of course, if you're watching in March, it could happen. But I don't want to scare you, because you know what? If you can like look at the Tower card, and that, of course, it's just a symbol. But if you can look at life and say, bring it. There's nothing you can do to me. I guarantee you're going to feel a lot better. It's because people are so afraid of some calamity that's imagined that they're really, that's what advertisers prey upon. Knowing how the human mind works, that people fear imaginary calamities. But if there's something that has happened, if you have discovered that your partner was cheating, because I do have a card that suggests that, and perhaps you know that you should leave. I'm going to tell you something. You probably already knew that you should leave. And it's like the universe shoving it in your face and saying, now will you take action? And I think that Scorpio people are very powerful individuals. They may be the most powerful sign overall in a lot of ways. But one thing that can happen very easily is in romantic relationships. That's where there can be this sense of vulnerability. I don't know exactly why it is, except to say that I think that a lot of Scorpios have had loss in their life. A loss of a parent when they were young. A situation of betrayal or power being abused in some way. And so even though they appear very strong, there can be, maybe underneath the surface, a lot of vulnerability. And if something... Oh, here's another thing too. Because of the fact that Scorpios tend to be very suspicious, I think a lot of times they bring it on themselves, that you bring it on yourself. Not to say that that person isn't responsible if they cheated or anything like that, but when you accuse somebody over and over again of doing something... I'm not saying all Scorpios, okay, so keep that in mind. But the ones that are always testing people, trying to check up on them and things like that, other people, if they are innocent, they don't like that. And they will tend to be resistant to sticking around. And they may feel justified. Well, if they're going to accuse me of it, I might as well do it. So it's almost like giving them the opening to be able to cheat. Again, that still is on them to leave the relationship rather than cheat, but that's just what I'm saying. So this is the higher message. The higher message is Seven of Swords, which is a card that is associated with deception, cheating, going behind somebody's back, even physical theft. So that would mean that the person might be using the Scorpio for monetary resources. And, the grifter card. I got a kick out of it. Somebody said to me, what is a grifter? Because I had put that. And I guess it was probably somebody that doesn't live in the United States. A grifter is a con man, a con person, to be politically correct. And so that kind of person, those kind of people exist. I'm just wondering if there are Scorpios out there that are, usually Scorpios, I don't think, are spendthrifts, that they would just, I don't want to say that you're not generous, but that you would shower money and stuff on somebody else. Maybe there are some out there, but in any case, as the spiritual message, it's basically asking you to honor yourself. You know, when you're in denial and you still, you know, even after like it being in your face or something, walking in on somebody who's having sexual relations with somebody else, and then still refusing to let go or to accept the inevitable. The Seven of Swords could also be saying this is a card of going your own way. So spiritually, it may be saying that the best way to deal with the situation is to leave it. And kind of like that goes along with the Eight of Cups, but you are in that stubborn pattern of refusing to do so. What's coming in is represented by the Eight of Pentacles. This could be that you are working longer hours. Maybe you're trying to lose yourself in your work. So, or maybe you're working overtime so that you can save money to leave. Maybe that's what's keeping you from leaving. It's just the financial aspect of it. In some cases, if it is in terms of counsel, advice, not to try too hard. If you have, or showing how you're trying too hard in your situation, maybe you are trying to make something work when the other person is not committed. So it's kind of like wasting your effort. And the Eight of Pentacles is like, put your effort, your energy into something productive. You know, the Eight of Pentacles is about somebody perfecting their craft and doing something that is going to produce positive results. And anytime that you invest energy into a person, place, or thing that doesn't give you back that kind of a positive, you know, result, what is the point? And the outcome is the Knight of Swords. Now, this is a card that's associated with lawyers, so it could be that you are going to get divorced if you're in a situation where this is a marriage, and that's why you are kind of keeping that option open. Maybe you have children together and you're afraid of like breaking up the family. The Knight of Swords too can be you being very cut and dried with your communications. So you may just tell it like it is with this person and say, I know that you're doing this. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And then it's just like, that's it. And you're not going to pussyfoot around anymore. And it's really about speaking your truth and standing up for what you believe. And that is how you feel empowered, because maybe you've been feeling like you lost your voice. Maybe you questioned your worth, or questioned your own, questioned your behavior in the relationship. And I think it's always good to question ourselves, even when somebody else is cheating. Because it's a dance. We're part of that dance when we're in a relationship. And even if somebody is clearly the one who violated the trust, I still feel that it's important to acknowledge our part in anything. And by the way, one more thing that I wanted to say about all of this is that if you are someone who is wanting to move on with your life, it really is helpful to see things from the other person's point of view, because it's hard, and this is actually going into this next card. If you get caught up in the fact that, you know, perhaps you were cheated on or what have you, it can, you know, put you in a bitter place, and then you still are energetically connected to that person, even if it's a negative connection. So the more that you can accept the situation doesn't mean that you absolve them from their responsibility. The more that you're able to move on with your life, because this is about moving on emotionally. So this is mending. I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, there's so many like angelic images that are associated with these cards. I mean, that's what forgiveness is healing. So the essential meaning is forgiveness, making amends, healing after arguments. The Oracle's message: each time we are hurt and allow the hurt to pass through us without understanding and integration, we accumulate an unwanted burden. That's what I meant to say in my roundabout way. This keeps us chained to the very things we need to heal: the pain, the memories, the echoes of resentments, and the arguments that we rehearse over and over. Now is the time for mending rifts, healing wounds, and letting go of the old hurts in order to reclaim your power. Now is the time to forgive, to release, to make peace, and to make amends to others. Set yourself free. And the relationship message is: you've come to a place where forgiveness is necessary if you're to move forward. Separate or together, you and the other person are still experiencing the effects of a hurt that is impacting everything you do, even if you are not aware of it. The energy needs to clear. What must you do to bridge this gap? Closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. Ask yourself, what would love do? Only good will come of forgiveness and an honest redress. And I did have, I mean, I think I've had more than once, but I remember very clearly not so long ago saying something like this in a video for Scorpio, and I had somebody who was a Scorpio saying, there's no way that I would forgive, you know, blah, 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 they did this, and they deserve, you know, whatever karma or whatever that they get, and stuff like that. And, you know, it was completely, you know, so palpable, their sense of having been wronged and wanting, you know, the unfairness of it. I think that's what gets people every time, is the sense that it's not fair. I was loyal to you, I loved you, and you did not do the same with me, and there's no way that I'm going to let you off the hook. Because the feeling is, if we forgive the person and even like verbalize it to them, we let them off the hook from all the things that they did, and then they're just going to go off into the sunset. They're going to be happy with this new person, and we're going to be left alone and miserable. And actually, there is no hook. The more you can entertain the idea of freedom within the greater field of potential of human relationships, the better. And the reason I say this is because it's so easy to get into that concept of ownership, of this person is mine, and they can't be with somebody else. Yes, they can. They totally can. And they totally do. People fall in love with other people every day, every minute, whether we like it or not. The more you can accept that that possibility exists, the more that this card will never have power over you. Because that is true mastery. True mastery is not calling somebody 10 times a day, checking up on them to make sure that they're not cheating. Or like looking on their phone to make sure they're not calling an ex. That's not freedom. Are you kidding me? That is somebody who is very insecure. And a Scorpio person who does these things would never admit to being insecure, because that to them is the worst possible thing you can be. Anything that smacks of weakness is not something that Scorpio wants to have a part of. And I'm talking about the lower, the shadow part of Scorpio. There are definitely going to be Scorpios who can acknowledge their own vulnerabilities, and they are not like this. But it's a defense mechanism. Okay, so the thing is, what you have to do is you have to override that. And people do that in different ways, and it's not about this one relationship. Because in actuality, if you are somebody who is very possessive and suspicious, you will drive your partner away. There's no question about that, because it's a negative behavior pattern. And if you've ever been in the position of having somebody accuse you all the time, it's a very scary thing, because you may be like, that person's almost going to convince you that you are cheating, that you are doing all these terrible things, and they don't want to hear anything else but that. And so it's all about healing and about accepting the fact that we don't own other people. And I really think that once you make that shift, that you don't attract the kind of people that do the things that are your worst nightmare, like cheating, like lying, stealing, using, that kind of thing. So anyway, I wish you all the best, Scorpio. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a wonderful April. Bye.